Earlier, my colleague Geeta Gurumurthy spoke to Anand Menon, Director of UK in a Changing Europe, a think tank for independent research on UK-EU relations.
For some in the Conservative Party and in the DUP, this isn't just about trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, it's about sovereignty. So what this piece of paper says about the role of the European Court, what it says about whether Northern Ireland will get any say over the EU rules that will apply on its territory will be absolutely fundamental. And here it's worth saying that the point of the protocol is to avoid a border between the north and south of Ireland. And the way it does that is by putting Northern Ireland under some EU laws, particularly when it comes to trade in goods. And given that both sides don't want that north-south border in Northern Ireland, EU law will continue to have some role in Northern Ireland, and the EU will make that law. We won't get a vote on it, and the EU's court will have a role in interpreting it. So we have to wait and see whether potential opponents are willing to compromise a bit and allow some role for those EU institutions.
How much of a political risk or a test is it for Rishi Sunak, in your view? I mean, is there a real danger of enough Conservative critics derailing this, or is it likely that the political momentum will be to support the government?
Well, it's both a huge test and a huge opportunity. It's a test because insofar as he's faced challenges from his party so far during his tenure in Number 10, he's tended to swerve them, either by compromising or by backing off. This time, he seems to be going full speed ahead, saying, opposition or no opposition, I think we need to get this sorted. And, you know, it's a moment of truth. We'll remember moments of truth that Theresa May had, back with a meaningful vote. It's the equivalent, albeit without the formal parliamentary vote. But it's an opportunity too, because I think Number 10 sees a deal on the protocol as a way of unlocking all sorts of things, whether that be UK participation in EU research projects or the prospects of the forthcoming summit with President Macron in Paris, bearing real fruits when it comes to collaboration over the small boats issue. So there's quite a lot at stake.
And in terms of, therefore, how this affects even economic growth across the UK, because, you know, we've heard forecasts and current numbers saying that, you know, GDP in the UK has fallen as a result of Brexit in part at the moment. Does this potentially, this deal, unlock a bit of room for, you know, economic improvement?
It might unlock a tiny bit. The major impact of leaving the EU has been leaving the single market, and there's no way that the Prime Minister is going to countenance something like that. But what it does is it provides certainty for those businesses in Northern Ireland and trading with Northern Ireland. It also provides a broader certainty because, of course, as long as this standoff over the protocol was going on, companies were not certain if we'd end up in a trade war with the European Union if they retaliated against what they see as our failure to implement it. And moving on, if the mood music becomes better, there are all sorts of issues, notably the rules governing exports of electric vehicles, that the two sides are due to be negotiating over the next few years. And those negotiations might get a little bit easier in a context in which we're getting on better and the protocol issue has been laid to rest.